Yeah, I think sometimes I get inspired by poetry. That would be my reason for certain colours or a certain composition. I haven't, well now with a 2-year-old it's quite difficult to slot in time, but I have a book that I put my ideas in. So if I listen to if I read a poem or listen to even a qawwali, because I really like Sufi music as well, I would then contemplate and then think of a composition and colours inspired by that piece as well, or what I've read or what I've listened to. But I'm still finding meaning behind colours and composition. I'm still finding that because it's a bit of myself. I know some artists who are amazing artists, and they stick to a certain colour palette. My name is Munise Akhtar. I currently live in Sheffield and I specialise in biomorphic, so tezhib, and Persian miniature art. When I was 12 years old, we lived in North London, and my late father decided that we were going to do a road trip from London all the way to Turkey and Cyprus, and we stayed with family friends in Ankara, and that's when I met a really dear friend called Tuğba Mendi, and she specialises in tezhib. She's a professor in Ankara, and when I saw her do the art, I was mesmerised, and that was when I was about 12 years old when I first saw the art, and then I tried to get into it since then. My journey into this art, it started when I was 12, but living in North London there wasn't much Islamic art courses, so I put it on pause. I did GCSE art, I did design crafts in college in North London, but none of it touched into this sort of art that I love. And then fast forward 18 years old, I got married, and me and my husband decided to backpack around Uzbekistan, China, Malaysia, Indonesia, and I was exposed to so much beautiful art, all different types from different religions, different cultures, and all have like storylines that I loved it. And when we came back afterwards, I decided to go back into it, and I realised how much I actually love Islamic art with tezhib or miniature art. And then I got back into it about 7 years ago. I think I got back into it, and then I then went more into it when my father passed away last year. I saw it as an art form that helps like calm the mind and be like a meditation, and helped me with the grieving process. And then from there it just spiraled into teaching. I'm grateful I did GCSE art, and I'm grateful I did the art in college because it taught me still a lot with brushwork. And I feel like if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have come so far as well with my Islamic art, because it's a very, very time-consuming art. It's taught me about patience, because you can't go straight into it. You have to do paper prep, and then prep all your material, maybe dye the paper, wait 24 hours, or making the gold itself takes a few days of labour itself. So I'm glad I did my GCSE art and my college art, because it taught me about basic fundamentals of art and how to control your brush, and I use those skills and put it into the art that I love today. The ideas and themes of my art that is important to me is, I'm still discovering myself with what art form I like. So I started with tezhib, and I feel like it's a good base ground with tezhib, because you learn the intricacy and you learn the fundamentals of brushwork and paint making. And then from there I took it to Persian miniature art. And I love Persian miniature art more because I feel like I could put my identity towards it, because it's the storytelling aspect which I love. I still love both art forms, so I teach more the tezhib biomorphic patterns, and I find myself still discovering myself in the Persian miniature with the storytelling part, and I find I'm more discovering my own identity for it and my spirituality as well for it. What inspires my art is old manuscripts and the way they painted and how they made the paints for it. Like I said, was the illumination of the gold. Like even the small stoppers in the Quran, how you have some Qurans and they're so intricately delicate, there's little small stoppers, and the way they've carved the pattern that is so perfect. And just the mind of the process of how they came up with that and the decoration of it. I'm totally inspired by that, but I'm also inspired by looking at a Persian miniature art that has a whole scene. It could be horses, a river, or a lake, and it'll be a whole story. And I'm inspired by different interpretations of that story. So, for example, I'm currently doing an art piece dedicated to my late father, and it has a whole story within itself. But whenever I show someone that art piece, they have their own interpretation of it. And I think that inspires me. It's storytelling, the whole way of how they've done the art piece in terms of the alchemy of art, of paint making, and also the mythology. I am a huge fan of mythology. And I love to combine all of that. And I'm still finding my art style, but at the moment I love all those three aspects. In my tezhib miniature work, the technique I use the most is probably the technique, I think they use it in Persian, they call it pardaz. So it's very, very tiny dots when you do shading, like a cross-hatching. And I've been using that recently a lot in my work, especially with the Persian miniature. I've been using that, and it's taught me also line brushworker control, and I've used that for my tezhib. So pardaz is a very important technique that I've used in both. And also making paint. Lately I've become more into it, so I've recently acquired a whole pigment list. So I've got ultramarine, cinnabar, turquoise, malachite, and I'm finding there's a whole inward journey as well with grinding the paint and applying it onto the paper. I feel like there is a spiritual significance because it's something from the earth that you are now making into a paint to put into an artwork that has a bit of your own identity to it. And it's that journey that I'm beginning to put more into my art and slowly teaching it as well. So when I first started painting, say from 12 years old to where I am now, in my 30s, I started off with acrylic, which is just a synthetic material. And then I went towards watercolour, gouache, and now to natural pigments. And I feel like that's a really good symbolism of my inward journey, where I have gone more towards the natural pigments because I feel there's a spiritual significance with using the earth and putting it into your work. And I feel like that's a really good symbolism of me travelling the earth and now putting it more into my work. So for my materials, I use natural pigments, gold, and I'm still learning because when you make the paint, each one has its own like chemical formula in terms of ratios with gum arabic and water, or some people use honey and water. And I'm still learning how to make those paints into the perfect kind of consistency to apply to my artwork. In terms of paper, I started off with just normal watercolour paper, but recently I've imported Wesley paper from, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's from India and it's archival paper, so it lasts many, many years. And there's a process that they do in India where it's just layers and layers of paper that have been, I think, glued or stuck together, again, using natural methods. And I feel like that's the perfect way of, when you're using natural pigments, to use something like that on your artwork, because it's handmade by a village in India, and then using your natural pigments on top, I feel like it just combines the whole sentiment of everything natural and the whole spiritual meaning, which I love, of using earth into the artwork as well. I feel like in this really fast-paced world, like everything's click of the finger, social media, or even ordering something, I feel like what's really great about natural materials, it makes you stop. It's not a simple open the cap and get this paint out of the tube. You have to set up your table, so I have a big tile sample, and bring out your pigment, maybe have some precautions. Sometimes you've got to wear gloves with some of the pigments, but then you have to hand grind it. And it depends. I've once used a stone and turned that to a powder, and that took about 3 hours of just grinding it with a brass pestle mortar. Or now I actually just buy the pigment itself, but again, it forces you to stop and then just zone in. And I feel like for me, art is a form of meditation because of that. It makes you stop and zone into the moment and fully absorb into the art, rather than just unscrewing a cap and using the paint. But when I do my own painting or my own artwork, it is a moment where I zone out. And I try to do it when my daughter naps. So it's like, it's my time, everything zones out. And even the sound of grinding the paint, so we use a glass muller, and the sound of it is just, I find it very therapeutic. And then we store them in seashells rather than using plastic tubs. So again, back to natural ways. And I feel like that's so important when you're using a natural paint rather than the easy way of using the cap, which I still use with paints. But I love the process of making it. You stop and just taking a moment. The phone's away unless you got music on, but it's that moment which means a lot to me with my art. The main colours, so when I first started Tezhib, I ended up getting lots and lots of books to see what colours other Tezhib masters would use, and a lot of times it would be deep greens, maroon reds, ultramarine, which is lapis lazuli. They would use these royal colours, and then I started off the same colour palette, but then I branched out into natural pigments, so I ended up using a lot of natural colours. So I'll still use the ultramarine because that's a fundamental paint. Then I would use other colours like lots of different tones of greens. Whatever natural earth I have, I would sometimes base a painting on that. So for example, I went for a walk with my daughter and I found pieces of brick and I rubbed them together and I realised, oh, that's a pigment. And I brought it home and I thought, okay, I'm going to try and make a paint and a painting from that colour. So it's more like the colour determines a piece sometimes. So it works both ways in how I pick my colour palette. Sometimes I like to go intuitively, and just once I'm painting, I don't pick the colour palette sometimes straight away. I wait until the ideas flow and I'm like, oh yes, green will look good there, and then I'll make a green, or I'll think yellow would look good there. I'll go intuitively sometimes rather than limiting myself with just a small colour palette. So when I get inspired to do a piece, before I even start doing a composition, it's research. So I've, over the years, through charity shop finds or through going to Istanbul a lot, I have accumulated lots and lots of books. So if I'm inspired by something, before I start, I will then go through all my books and I'll get inspired more. I'll write down what aspects of the books I like. Then if I want to put a bit of Tezhib, I'll look into my Tezhib books from Istanbul, which I've accumulated quite a bit. And then from there, I will then draw on the composition. Sometimes I will draw it freehand, and then sometimes I will actually do it digitally. And I would digitally do the composition, and then I would then print it on A3, and then start the process onto my paper. So I would find what size paper I need, whether it's A4, A3. I'm more happy with A3 size, so I'll do A3. I would then flatten the paper, because at the moment they're all rolled up because they've been imported from India. So I'd flatten the paper with all the books I've accumulated helps to flatten the paper. And then once I have my design on my paper, I would then go ahead and make red ochre pigment. Red ochre pigment is one of the oldest pigments. You would find it in cave paintings with the red. The mummies would use it. It's everywhere. Like even in your garden, you might find a bit of red soil. So that is perfect for outlining. So I would use that to outline my whole painting, the whole composition, and that's my base. And then from there, I will then slowly think of what colours to do first. And then usually it's gold first. With any art, with any work, even when I teach my workshops, we always do gold first. I feel like gold covers mistakes and it just straight away brings up your painting. And then from there, I'll slowly add base layers of the natural pigments and then add the detailing, and depending on what art I'm doing, whether it's miniature art or whether it's tezhib, there's different stages. But then the last stage would then be outlining everything. And it's the outlining that makes it all just pop out more. When I go into my zone of painting, I put my daughter down for a nap. I come up to my art studio, shut the door, and first things first is music. I've got music on. I might light an incense to get the nice smell and aroma, just to straight away know that it's time to unwind. And then I'll get everything ready, my paints where I need them, my water cup where I need them, and then I might put some nice, make sure I have good lighting. And then I just zone in to my artwork, and it feels like everything around me just shuts off. And it's just me and me doing my artwork. With my artwork, the spiritual meanings, a lot of it I'm still discovering, and I feel like that's a testament to my art. I'm still discovering my art side, still discovering what colour palettes I like, and I feel like that's all a spiritual journey within itself. And as I grow, my art's growing. So I started with tezhib, and then I went into miniature art because I love the spirituality, storytelling part of it. And as that grows, my own art grows, and I like to use symbolism. So in my previous piece, that was an exhibition in Aberystwyth University back in February. I had to do a piece based on multiplicity, which is about identity, and I try and put that into, especially that piece for the exhibition. It was based on my travels, but I made sure there was a compass at the top. And the compass was a symbolism of my spiritual growth and of my outward travels. But I love using those sort of symbolism into my artwork itself as well. The kind of feelings I want my artwork to leave is a sense of wonder. I think that's the best answer, is to think, like to see and go, oh wow, did that get made? Or how was that painted? Or how was the gold made? How does it shimmer in the light? How, like the little intricacy of how each bit was made and how it's come together. I think that's, and what if it makes you delve into yourself and wonder about aspects of life as well. I would love that too. But with tezhib, it's more of amazement of the intricate patterns and the biomorphic patterns and the beauty of all the colours and the gold all put together. I think that would be the best answer.